Okay, folks, this is Tony Aguilar, and I'm doing another Skirmish Scenario book review. This is another one of the series of Skirmish Campaigns. This one is called Grossdeutschland at Kursk, World War II Scenarios and Campaigns by Scott Fisher and Nathan Forney. These are a set of scenarios that you can use with many different sets of rules. They're not rule specific. And as it says here in the back, this is a complete book for recreating skirmish-level battles and campaigns centered on the German Grossdeutschland division and its powerful drive on the southern flank of the Kursk salient in July 1943. Book includes 10 scenarios that can be played alone or together in one of 3 campaigns. And what they have is they have kind of a generic order of battle and along with some variable forces for each scenario. So it includes 10 scenarios, 3 campaigns, and they're compatible with these and other rules: Battleground, Beer and Pretzel Skirmish, Battlefront, Battalions in Crisis, Cross of Iron, The Face of Battle, that's the one I happen to use, Overlord, Panzermarsch, Skirmish 90, TAC Skirmish, Arc of Fire, and many more. And this is kind of the table of contents, what is on there. And it's about 45 pages, something like that. No, it's actually quite a bit more than that. It's just shy of 60 pages. 60 pages with the advertising there at the bottom. So we're going to take a quick look in here and see what's included and see if this is something that interests you. I don't know where I got this one. I've probably had this about 20 years now. This was printed in, it says here somewhere, in the early 2000s probably. 2002. And this is available from On Military Matters for sure. They carry these. So let's just take a look at what we've got here. Has a little bit of an introduction. Here is the table of contents again. Got Manstein all over them. So a little bit of an introduction. This has kind of the breakdown of what the values are here. It uses the training value and the morale value for each particular soldier. This is a very small scale skirmish rule set, meaning it's, you don't, I think in most you might have like a platoon or something like that on one side. And then here's the training things, what it represents: T1, T2, T3, T4, 5, and then the morale A+ through E. General scenario notes and the victory conditions for each one of the scenarios. So this is kind of the meat and potatoes. You have a base force plus variable attachment equals a player force for that scenario. Okay? A little bit of the translations of what those training values translate into what rule set you're using. And here's the map of the bottom push. And of course, what we're talking about is this end of it right here, where Grossdeutschland was. This is the first of 2 skirmish campaign scenario books that they have specifically for Kursk. This one is specifically from the German side, although obviously there's Soviet forces there that you play as well. And the other one is the Red Guards at Kursk, which is kind of the counterattack, pushing the fascists back. Here's the campaign games. So there's a contact campaign. There's a Northern Thrust campaign. So the contact campaign consists of these 3 battles. You can get victory points in each one of them, and you total them and see who actually wins the campaign. Northern Thrust campaign, this is 4 of them right here. 4 scenarios. And the Stalemate campaign, when the Germans run out of steam. Okay. Political military situation, a little bit of history there. Technology and history. A little bit more background information, and the selected bibliography. Okay, so here we go. This is the first scenario, Prelude, and this is a very small scenario. Now, all of these maps are really set up for 15 to 20 millimeter. You can use them for other scales, but you see these squares? This is supposed to represent 1 foot squares. So this would basically be a 3 by 4 board, which is a relatively small board. And here you got light woods, a ravine, another light woods, a hill here, forward outpost. This is kind of a good scenario for starting someone with, say, a skirmish type game, maybe a rule set that people aren't familiar with. Maybe you're going to GM it. This has very few forces on it, and you'll see when I turn the page what that is, because it's kind of a small scale thing. So this is basically, the Germans have a couple squads and a platoon headquarters, and then they can have, here's the variable attachment. So they'd roll a D20, they can have a flamethrower team, a medium machine gun, or an 80mm mortar. And the Soviets have a forward observation team. You're talking like 4 guys, 1 rifle squad, 9 men, and a medium machine gun team. And then you've got variable attachment, anti-tank rifle team, medium machine gun artillery support. So, you know, this is kind of a good introduction for a skirmish type set. This is probably the smallest scenario also in here. Okay, going on to the next one, Gertsova Station. Okay, so we've got some woods. Again, now this is another 3x4 board, relatively small board. And of course it tells you what the victory conditions are. Platoon headquarters, 2 squads, similar for the Germans. Okay, some other things. Again, still small forces. You got a platoon headquarters for the Soviets, a rifle squad, and an anti-tank gun team. That's it for the core force. No vehicles. Pioneers forward. You bet there's going to be flamethrowers in this one for sure. So, got a little stone bridge. Again, a 3x4 board. Relatively quaint and close and personal. Yep, 2 pioneer squads. And mortar support. So these are relatively small scenarios. The Soviets only have a rifle squad and a platoon headquarters, plus whatever else they could get, which could include a 76mm field gun. So, okay, now we start getting into the vehicles. Kill 247. And the size of the board went up dramatically. Now we're talking about a 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a 4x8 board. And you've got the Germans have a couple of Stugs, a couple of Marder 3s, and a couple of 234s. See, it doesn't even tell you what kind they are. They're probably 231/1s. Some of these books have a few mistakes in them. You know, like there's an omitted, what slash is it? The Pumas weren't out yet, so would not be Pumas. Couple of armored cars. Mechanized infantry platoon headquarters and a squad. So you got 6 vehicles to a headquarters, squad, and another squad. So that's a high percentage of vehicles. Obviously, you could have one other variable thing. And the Soviets have a couple T-34s. And I believe the T-34s can be dug in. There's a special rule on there. That was one thing that the Germans encountered a lot at Kursk was dug in T-34s. Okay? Yeah, here it is. Scenario rules. The Soviet T-34 anti-tank gun and field gun may start dug in and camouflaged. Okay, so here's the setup area. The Soviets can set up anywhere on there. I bet the T-34s will probably be on the top of that Hill 247 dug in. That's where I'd put them anyways. I haven't played any of these scenarios. I've had them a long time, but I haven't played any of these scenarios. But a little bit of smorgasbord. You got a couple T-34s, a motorized rifle platoon headquarters, a motorized rifle squad, and a 45mm anti-tank gun. Plus your variable attachment. Okay, then you got Spearhead. That just sounds like it's got vehicles on it, especially since the Tiger 1. Since it has a Tiger 1 on there. And you got another, this is like a 4x8 board with a lot of, it's pretty dense terrain. You look at this and there's only like a 1-foot gap in between these woods. That's pretty tight, honestly. Here's dug-in T-34, a special rule. You're going to see it they have on there. Yeah, you got a bridge here. Special rule, if a Tiger crosses the bridge on a result of 20, the bridge collapses and the Tiger's out of action. This roll is per vehicle. So what do they have? They have a couple of long-barrel Panzer IIIs, a couple of long-barrel Panzer IVs, 2 Tigers, and a platoon headquarters in a 251 with a 37mm cannon, so a German half-track with a 37mm cannon, and one standard 251. Of course, they can have another couple for variable attachment. They can have another pair of long barrel 3s. Here they have J's. You could probably substitute L's or M's if you needed to, and a couple of 4Gs as well. So that sounds pretty nasty. Well, there's 6 T-34s and 3 T-70s. Of course, you got 9 tanks over here and only 2 squads. So it's a high percentage of vehicles on here in this particular scenario. Red counter thrust, a similar size board, 4x8. Got 4 long barrel 4s, an infantry squad, an infantry gun. And of course, if you roll a 1 on a reinforcement, you get a couple of Tigers. Again, 6 T-34s, 2 Su-76s, and a rifle squad. So a high percentage of vehicles in here, along with the variable attachments, of course. Now, this is probably the most interesting scenario in the whole book. It's called Crippled Tiger. And the synopsis of this is only a board that's 2x4. So it's a relatively small board, and there's a ravine with a Tiger 1 sitting in the middle of it. And it's immobilized. Prior to setup, the German player rolls a d6 to determine the cause of the immobilization. 1 or 2, the left track is damaged. 3 or 4, the right track is damaged. 5 or 6, the engine is damaged. And the objective of this one is, as the Germans, they have a salvage team that needs to come and repair the Tiger. So this is, what's interesting about this scenario is that this is not something you normally see in most scenarios. And you'll see you have a Tiger 1 that is out of action for the entire scenario. So it is there, it's just not doing anything. You got a salvage crew that consists of a truck, 5 mechanics, and a crew leader. And the partial Tiger crew is 3 guys: tank commander, radio operator, and a driver, all in a Kubelwagen. Okay? And they come in. And their objective in this one is Soviet orders need to destroy the Tiger or capture, kill, or force off the board all the German soldiers. So what do the Soviets have? They have a recon platoon headquarters and a recon squad. So it should be an interesting scenario. I've got an Elephant. It really doesn't matter what vehicle you use here, but I actually have a Ferdinand, that could work for this as well. Of course, that would be in the north. There was no Ferdinands in the southern punch. They're all in the northern part of the Kursk offensive. Okay, Bereskovo warehouse. Obviously, there's a warehouse there. It's got some barbed wire, another 4x8 board. I see a Panzer IV, so probably have one of those in there. Sure enough, we got a couple of Panthers, 4 long Panzer IVs, a Pioneer assault team, a squad, and 80mm mortar. Some really elite stuff in here. Yeah, the Panther crews are training to A+ morale. The Panthers did not do very well at Kursk. They had all kinds of teething issues. And actually, they got brought into service so quick, a lot of the crews really didn't have much practice with them. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that training level, but hey, it's just a scenario. And a couple Su-76s and stuff. You can even get an Su-122 as a reinforcement. So another 4x8 board. Kind of open compared to some of the other ones with a warehouse. Scenario options. So here's optional scenarios also. One or both of the houses may be fully engulfed in flames. Well, that'd make it interesting. Oh, here you go. Panther drivetrain. Every time a Panther moves, roll a d20. On a 20, the vehicle develops drivetrain problems. Then you do a subsequent D3, a D6, 1 to 3 half speed for the remainder of the scenario, 4 to 5 immobilized for the remainder of the scenario, 6 engine fire, vehicle must be abandoned. Yeah, they had a problem with, amongst the problems that the Panthers had is they had a fuel that would leak and could catch fire. Whoops. Steel Confrontation. I think there's going to be a lot of vehicles in this one. The Soviet orders. Destroy, immobilize, or force off the board 2 Tigers. So you got hills coming from the set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hills and some light woods. And again, a 4x8 board. And there's stuff that comes in. You got German stuff that can come in these two. You got Soviet stuff that can come in there. Got the Panther drivetrain special rule as well. So what exactly do we have here? Yeah. Well, here's the 2 guys you need to get off the board. The 2 Tiger 1s. Okay. A couple of long barrel 4s, a couple of Martyrs, a 50mm anti-tank gun, and a headquarters squad. So really, other than the anti-tank gun crew, the only infantry here is 4 guys. And likewise, the Soviets have 9 T-34s, 3 T-70s, and a motorized rifle squad and a truck. So it's definitely an armor battle. Oh, we're going to have to try our practice in it. Verkopenie Woods. And here's the woods, and here's more woods. We got a Ford here. Another 4x8 board. A couple of Martyrs, a 50mm anti-tank gun, and a motorized infantry squad and a truck. And this is a counterattack, it seems like, because the Soviets have 6 T-34s, 3 T-70s, and a couple of motor rifle squads. Okay, and that's it. And of course, you have advertising here from different places. Brookhurst Hobbies. I used to buy a lot of stuff from them in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. They used to import a lot of these miniatures and stuff that they're no longer the importer for them. FAA, Minutemen Toy Soldiers. I used to buy stuff from Minutemen Toy Soldiers as well. They used to bring in battlefield miniatures. So yeah, there's quite a few books in the series. There's a few more than here. This is just one that came out. It even says Red Guards at Kursk. It's upcoming book. So when this was published, the Red Guards at Kursk was not available yet. Looks like I got this shy of $15. I think it runs about the same thing. They may have gotten up to like $20 now. You'll just have to check. But anyways, it's kind of a cool scenario book if you're Grossdeutschland fans or if you're fans of Kursk. A variety of different scenarios. And just by looking at them, it looks like they're definitely armor heavy. So if that's your kind of cup of tea, this might be a good thing for you. So anyhow, hopefully you enjoyed this little kind of a glimpse of this scenario book. And if you like it, give me a like, and by all means subscribe to my channel. We'll have more of these as we go. I have about just shy of a dozen of these, and I've already done one review on them. And they're great books. They're great books, and if you don't play them exactly, at least it's food for thought, and you can make your own scenarios based on, some ideas that you get here. Okay, until next time, see ya.